Hello everyone, I'm Alex. I'm a postdoc working at University of Cambridge. Today I would like to introduce you some of my PhD work on volcanic eruption explosivity and how to study them using apatite.
For those who's not that familiar with apatite, apatite is a calcium phosphate mineral, usually accessory mineral in volcanic rocks. It has a hexagonal structure, and it has an anode side that incorporates fluorine-chlorine hydroxyl. Therefore, apatite is a potentially good tool for us to study magmatic volatiles. There have been many studies on magmatic volatiles using a combination of different methods. So we started to work on this since the beginning of my PhD in 2014. We developed two calculation tools based on thermodynamics and diffusion theory and experiments. So today I would talk about the application of these two methods in the real world. These are the publications related to the method we're going to talk about today. Feel free to take a screenshot of this page if you're interested in this work, as I would not be able to cover many details in this talk. The main idea of our work is very simple. Imagine an apatite crystal in the magmatic system. It would have started to crystallize and grow after the melt is saturated with phosphorus. Therefore, the core of the crystal would have recorded the melt composition that equilibrated with the crystal, whereas the rim of the crystal would have compositions that would be more easily altered by any changes in PT composition conditions. This would very likely happen during magma transport, differentiation, degassing, etc. In our work, we use the core composition of apatite to estimate volatile concentration of the melt, and we use the rim composition to estimate the timescale that is related to magma degassing before eruption. The case study I'm showing here is Merapi volcano in Central Java, Indonesia. It is one of the most active volcanoes in the world. It usually has VIs 1 to 2 eruptions, such as in 2006. But in 2010, only after 4 years, the eruption at this volcano becomes explosive with VI4. By comparing the major element chemistry, rock chemistry of the rocks from the two eruptions, previous studies didn't show much difference. So we are wondering what's the main contributor to the different eruption styles in 2006 and 2010. Therefore, we started to look at apatite. We analyzed apatite using two techniques, the electron microprobe and the ion microprobe. And here's a diagram showing volatile concentration of apatite versus the cerium concentrations in these crystals. The red symbols are the 2010 samples and the empty symbols are 2006 ones. Obviously, we see that the 2010 apatite in the amphibole should lower cerium, higher CO2, and higher water. And the other apatite as inclusions in CPX, in Pludge, the matrix apatite has the opposite composition signals. Using these concentrations and partition coefficients from the literature, we calculated the volatile concentration in the melt. It's not surprising that we found two magma reservoirs beneath the volcano that is consistent with the multi-reservoir plumbing system proposed in previous studies. We found the shallow reservoir at the depth less than 10 kilometers beneath the summit, and this is consistent with previous studies using different methods. We found another reservoir near the borehole. This is consistent with previous barometry and tomography studies. Apart from the apatite core composition, we investigated the rim composition of these crystals, and we found difference between apatites from the two eruptions. The 2006 apatites generally has higher chlorine near the rings, as is shown in these red colors near the crystal boundary. This is not observed in the apatite from the 2010 eruption. The profiles determined for the chlorine-zoned crystals showed also higher chlorine near the crystal rings. Modeling these profiles using a multi-component diffusion algorithm called AppTimer and the diffusivity is determined from previous experiments, we found diffusion timescale for the 2006 apatites as about 2 weeks. For the 2010 samples, as they are not zoned, we can only estimate a maximum timescale for diffusion to not happen. That timescale is about 4 days. And these timescales are consistent with volcano monitoring data. This timescale, again, is related to chlorine and water degassing during magma ascent. That melt degas more water than chlorine, so that chlorine becomes enriched in apatite and trigger the chlorine diffusion that we observed. To summarize, we apply two apatite-based methods to two eruptions with different styles at the same volcano, and we found that the faster magma ascent is the main cause of the more explosive eruption. Our methods could be applied to studying other volcanoes, and we have so far applied them to Rabaul volcano and Kalut volcanoes. Finally, I would like to promote our new Python package, PyApp. It should be ready very soon, and this is just another way of using our methods in addition to the tools that we already have, such as the MATLAB, Excel, and the web version of our model. Thank you.